Making a documentary is fucking hard.
Who would have thought?
Ken Burns makes them all the time. And Ken Burns makes it look easy.
Throw a little stock footage together. A little voiceover here and there.
Interspersed with people who were there whenever whatever occurred, and a touch of music from that period, and bam! PBS is making a big deal about you.
In documentaries, as far as big deals go, you're right in between New Way's Crest toothpaste, whitens teeth, and recent advances in foot bath technology. But again, making a documentary is darn hard. And working on one, at least for me, has been like giving birth to a 14-pound baby.
It's alright as long as I don't look at you. And when I woke up, I was like this. I don't have time to write all of it. I need some stuff, please. God, Herschel, I just can't believe you're here like this. Gosh, Herschel, you sure are ugly. Honey, I'm sorry. You know I love you. What would it be like if you stayed like this? If we got married? What kind of life would we have together? What would the children think of their father looking? My God, what would the children look like? Herschel, what are you doing? Herschel.
I assume. I've never given birth. The one time I did get impacted, or is it compacted? I hadn't shit in a week and a half. I was on this new all-protein diet, and my inability to relieve myself brought me to the brink of believing I was going to die from turd toxicity. And so I begged my wife at the time to please give me an enema. One morning in 1981, imagine me, buck-ass naked, on all fours, splayed on the linoleum in the middle of our bathroom, and my reluctant wife kneeled behind me, inserting a turkey baster up my rectum. The evacuation was immediate, and a week's worth of pure, unadulterated liquid shit covered me, the bathroom walls, floor, countertops, and my lovely wife. We were divorced roughly a year later. It was non-shit related.
They know you. Pronouns create mystery in the minds of the lazy. But they don't know you. Something about me. I'm clueless. I'm not bragging about my complete unawareness. It just is what it is. And let's face it, you're clueless too.
So why has making the documentary been as difficult? Because making a documentary is more than throwing some stock footage, voiceovers, interviews, and music together. It's much more complicated because I have ideas I want to share. As my 100th outline, my 1000th script revised, and my 1,000,000th edit assembled, I realized I am a fucking mess. It is time to approach my mess a little differently.
You are about to witness history in the making.
For the sake of decency in this film, we partially covered the pictures and disguised the identity of the model.
I'm a weird guy.
When viewing this film, please keep your company name and your product in mind.
Oh, wow. Personally, I'm bored with going over all the old movies that everybody knows about. I'd like to kind of concentrate on during my lifetime. You know, I start putting together timelines and I come up with crazy coincidences.
And I have always been this way. And as a kid, when my parents divorced in 1983, my mother moved me and my two siblings to a new town, and thusly, a new school. I lacked the ability to make new friends, and my social anxiety made me extremely fearful of the cafeteria. Sitting with people I didn't know was off the table. I spent my lunch hours for the next 4 years in the school library, where I discovered two interests that would follow me throughout my life. The first came from an art book.
Politicians are stupid, and industrialists are extremely stupid. They got together and decided that because all the shit going down was so fucking stupid, they were gonna go out and paint, make films, write books, and perform next level stupid shit to prove how stupid everyone else was being.
C'étaient donc tous des intellectuels, des artistes qui se livraient à des facéties qui semblent parfois absurdes, mais qui au fond étaient pleines d'un esprit révolutionnaire.
Quant à la portée de Dada en général, les deux mouvements, le mouvement de New York et le mouvement de Zurich, sont très très semblables, même s'ils ont des formes différentes de technique. Par exemple, vis-à-vis du public, nous avions à New York un mépris du public.
Marcel was kind of a big deal because he gave zero shits what other people thought. Zero. Once he dropped off a urinal straight off the assembly line and gave it to the Society of Independent Artists, entitled the work Fountain.
The avant-garde movement in general, and it helped me in terms of what I did on the magazine. Yes, in terms of thinking, not in terms of very mainstream slick, production, but the idea that you can be a little off kilter and be a little more creative, and not always be crowd pleasing. They were trying to express themselves in a way that they felt that they were challenging art as what was considered the art norm. People who were just starting to do Dada or stranger things in art. And I think the avant-garde movement allowed them to go as strange as they wanted to go, or as abstract as they wanted to go, or to take things to the limit. They really pushed the envelope, if you want to use that phrase. They pushed things to the edge, and very often over the edge.
Professor Hans Richter. I don't have to explain that now. You all know what a Dada is.
This is Akira Fitton. and he was a contributor for the second influence that came from my time within the confines of the library.
Me. Look at my arms, see which one had the L on it. Michael, if you live down in the Lower East Side or in the Village, you probably know a bit of Michael because Michael does a magazine called Psychotronic, which we should hold one up here. The newest issue of Psychotronic.
The Psychotronic Encyclopedia film by Michael J. Weldon. In later episodes, we will touch on the book, the fanzine that predated it, the author, and the films within. But for now, let's touch on the term psychotronic. And the author breaks it down this way.
Kära tittare, då är vi tillbaka i studion igen, i gamla Filmstaden här efter filmklippsutflykterna. Och nu har jag en gäst i studion, vår första i Ronnys rullar, och det är författaren till The Psychotronic Encyclopedia of Film, Michael Weldon. Welcome.
Thank you.
You are our first guest here in Ronnys rullar. Do you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, but you are.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's good. I'm very pleased that you're here. And you are in Sweden of one special reason right now. And what is that?
That's to show 6 psychotronic movies all in a row in Sundsvall this week.
And when you say psychotronic films, for me it sounds like something cultish. Identify what a psychotronic film is.
Okay, well, most of them are cultish, but the word psychotronic is meant to make you think of horror, the psycho half, and science fiction, the tronic half. And that was the original concept, and it really just...
But my theory is this.
Is not life art? And is not that art absurd? Therefore, if the means by which one creates film is flush with the heady rewards of unfettered capitalism, that art is the most distant from the realities of life. And the opposite, the makeshift illusions of the proletariat dreamer, with empty pockets forcing their films to exist through sheer determination, is a reflection of our existence.
Marcel Duchamp, at the age of 15, you were painting pictures that look very like the Impressionists.
They were.
Within a few years of that, you challenged the whole of the artistic values that then existed. What did you so dislike about them that made you launch that attack?
Well, when you are 15 and paint like the Impressionists, you're experimenting with yourself, so to speak. You don't know what you're going to do. You don't know even that you are going to do anything else.
You've in fact been associated with Dada and with Surrealism.
Also.
Now, chance in art was something that Dada set out to really exploit, to use.
Yes.
What do you think now the element of chance in a work of art is, having tried to control and devise chance to serve your ends? Do you think it's something subconsciously that the artist projects?
Yes, because chance may be unknown to us. In other words, we don't know the results of chance because we haven't got enough brains for that. See, I mean, the divine brain, for example, could perfectly say, there's no chance, I know what's going to happen. You see, we don't know because we're ignorant enough not to be able to detect what chance is going to bring.
Chance must have played some part then in your other most renowned achievement, which is the red.
In that case, my idea was to find, to find, or not even decide, find, but to decide to choose an object that wouldn't attract me either by its beauty or by its ugliness. To find a point of indifference in my looking at it, see? Of course, you might say I'd find any number of those, but at the same time, it's not so much, because it's hard and difficult after a while, when you look at something, it becomes very interesting. You can even like it. See what I mean? In other words, there is a different, completely strangeness from one to the other, which show there is no style there.
So there's no
taste.
taste?
No taste, and no liking, and no disliking either.
There's a vulture out here eating a bear.
Think of the Z-grade movie as a form of the ready-made. Taking what the artist has available to them, with no limitations, no monetary limits, no creative limits, making something happen through believing anything is possible.
We live in a world subject to constant change. Every second, of every minute, of every hour, changes take place. These changes are perhaps invisible to us because...
I was a horror and science fiction fan since I was a little kid, and I had kind of toyed around with writing some reviews of movies when I was in school still, but the teachers didn't really approve of that, so I didn't go too far with it at that time. And when I really got started, I had been obsessing over horror movies and collecting monster movie magazines since practically I can remember.
What is a catalyst?
If unlimited money and talent gives us this, then the dichotomy is a papier-mâché turkey monster.
We've been everywhere. You heard anything from him yet?
He's here.
Here?
Yes, here. You're not gonna believe this. It's so weird. It's like out of Star Trek or the Twilight Zone.
Jim, Herschel's here, but he's in the Twilight Zone. You scored any opium or something lately? I think that you're the one that's in the Twilight Zone.
Wait a minute, Bob. I think something's wrong. Ann, what's going on?
I'm not stoned or anything. I'm straight. I am straight. Look, if you're for real, he's for real. Come see for yourself. Herschel? Come on. It's all right. Come on.
In support of my theory, I offer Danny Perry's observation of Plan 9 from outer space in his enlightening, highly recommended and out-of-print reference guide called Movies. Plan 9 is a delirious movie, but perhaps we are missing the point. Could it be that putting a crazy facade is the only way Wood could get away with making a subversive film? Remember, this is the radical, iconoclastic director who promoted transvestism beneath the sensationalism of Glen or Glenda, and protested the arms race by ending Bride of Monster with a nuclear explosion. Plan 9, dreadful as it is something far more significant and therefore better than the worst film of all time could possibly be. In the coming weeks, months, nuclear winters, I plan to dig deep into the Z-grade wonderland of the Psychotronic Encyclopedia of film. touching on the forgotten treasures hidden inside. Movies like Blood Fiend, Killer Nun, Bela Lugosi Meets a Brooklyn Gorilla, and more, and giving them the time and care they deserve. Along the way, we will look into the story of the book, the author, the contributors, and the outliers. As we discover that, while most people might react to these movies like they have recently been covered in liquid shit from an enema gone bad, we can find absurd art hidden right underneath the fecal-covered surface. I'm just some guy named Jeff, and we are all psychotronic.